My name's Chad. I am a player, a bit of an all-rounder. I'm gay, and my pronouns are he and him. Um, Tonight we're talking to.
Good evening, good afternoon, good day to everybody. My name is Marc Burgess. I am Outlaw number 56. My playing position is second row, stroke back row. I've been playing for the Outlaws now for around about 5 years, and I am straight.
Awesome, thank you. First question for you tonight is, what comes to mind when you think of LGBT spaces or groups?
That's a good question, Chad. I think when I think of LGBT, I think just inclusive society. Being a straight guy who's married with children, I just really embrace and welcome everybody as a group to me, because if I'm honest, I'm very naive to everything, and I've got a hunger for knowledge, so I'm happy to be taught around, are there rules and regulations to kind of hanging out with you guys? I mean, I personally don't see any borders. I'm just like, you guys and girls are just people to me, and I just love hanging out with you. I come to play rugby, and I come to, embrace you guys as a society. I respect your views, your values, and everything like that. So when I think of a group, I just see, open arms, people just welcoming me in. And, we go and have a few beers together and play a bit of rugby together and, have good times together. So that's kind of what I think about when I think of Outlaws and just think about LGBT more broadly.
Okay, that's interesting. It's nice. It's a good thing to think of. Next question for you is, when you think of a traditional rugby club, what images come to mind?
So for me, I've been playing rugby since I was a teenager. So when I first started rugby, it was very, family orientated and regimented in terms of, your grandfather would play, your father would play, and you would play, and your children would play. And it was very sort of traditional in that respect. I think, Outlaws have kind of broke that mold a bit, because it is just, welcoming to anybody, just anybody who's never played before and stuff like that. I think, dare I say, a traditional rugby club might be, oh, have you played before? Then come and play. Whereas Outlaws is a bit more, if you haven't played, it doesn't matter. Just come along and have fun. And it's not just about playing as well. I think the social aspect of it should never be ruled out, because I think sometimes the social people behind the scene who probably don't even pick up a ball are just important as the players who come out and play. So I think that, when I think of a traditional rugby club, that's kind of what I think about. But when I think of Outlaws, I think we kind of break the mold a little bit there. And I think all inclusive clubs do as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, it very much is about the social and rugby and, accepting of everybody. Before you joined the Outlaws, what would you think of a gay rugby club? What were your preconceptions of it?
Can I give full disclosure? So when I joined Outlaws, I was not familiar with the inclusive aspect of it. Okay. I joined Outlaws because a friend brought me along. He said, do you want to come play rugby again? I hadn't played for 10 years. He said, come along. So I came along with no sort of aspersions or anything like that. After a few weeks, I was informed about the club. But you know what? I was like, I just thought, well, I'm here now and I'm enjoying it. So let's just crack on and see what happens, So I actually didn't join it knowing, if I'm honest. But when I was there and I just saw the people, the people just, people like me who just enjoyed playing the game. They enjoyed having a drink, which, I also, like to get acquainted with now and again with some of the guys I know. So for me, it was all about just the people. I think I don't kind of put labels on things, me personally. Maybe that's my simple mind, perhaps. But I just saw a group of guys and girls eventually as well who just enjoyed the game, enjoyed the social aspect of it. And I think, for me, just again, before I joined the club, I wasn't familiar too much with sort of gay culture and some of the prejudice that you guys have had to experience over your lifetime, which for me is just really upsetting. And I think I want to kind of be as best an ally as I can be to kind of help break down those barriers, and think someone who's a straight guy just to come and play at a gay rugby club is just not an issue. I think just come and play because you want to come and play with the guys, or even come and socialise with everybody, because I've been on tours with the Outlaws and met a lot of the other inclusive clubs, and I've just really enjoyed the time, and I've not really made any sort of aspersions against any people, because it's just, for me, it's just rugby, good people and good times. That's kind of how I see a gay rugby club operating personally.
Fair enough. That's cool. You kind of answered the question already, but since being with the Outlaws, do you think it's changed your view of rugby clubs or teams?
Definitely, for the positive as well, I might add, because I think the way that rugby is an inclusive sport overall. I think some of the good PR that Outlaws and other clubs that are inclusive have brought to the game overall has been a real good memory. So things such as James Haskell and Tom Wood and Ken Peacey coming down to do some training with us after we won a competition as an inclusive club to train with the Northampton Saints guys. Those guys coming down, seeing what our culture is about and talking about, it was such a great message to talk more broadly across the UK and even globally. And also just some of the other initiatives we've had, where we've played with Ben Cohen and Will Greenwood, and had Nigel Owens, who is an openly gay referee, come and referee our game. I mean, that is just such great PR, and I'm hoping what it's going to do is kind of break down sort of those boundaries, really. That there's not fear. Gay people are just people. There's no sort of barrier there. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be scared of. They're just people who are like me and you, right? So I think from a gay rugby perspective, I'm just loving what the community is doing and seeing it grow. Just loads of new teams popping up here and there, just for people to kind of play rugby and feel comfortable in a normal setting. And I hope that the traditional rugby clubs, as they're called, will also start embracing that culture, similar to the Northampton Old Scouts, where we play our rugby. They've welcomed us with open arms as well, and hopefully more clubs will be like that in the future.
Yeah, no, fair enough. You mentioned obviously the traditional rugby. You had obviously a previous experience playing rugby before joining Outlaws?
I did, mate. I did. So I used to play for a club called Boys Brigade Old Boys, so BBOB as they're known. Some Northampton Saints players coming out of that club who played in my era, such as the likes of Paul Diggin, and young players like Reece Marshall coming through that club. So they've got a good, again, tradition, and they're only a stone's throw from the Northampton Saints. So yeah, again, growing up there, similar, they welcomed me with open arms. I was just a young boy, wet behind the ears, didn't know many people in the club, but I think after one initiation, as many of us have all had, I was part of the family straight away. And again, I think Outlaws is similar. So again, if I reflect on rugby versus other sports, I definitely see a lot more inclusivity and a lot more of a welcoming feel in rugby. So that's probably why it's my sport of choice to play, because I have played other sports and socially, but rugby is my sport of choice because of the culture and because of the camaraderie with everybody that is involved in the club.
Fair enough. Obviously you explained that you didn't know Outlaws was an inclusive club, but how did you feel before your first training session?
Oh, wow. You know what? Nervous, if I'm honest. Again, I still had the memory of playing 10 years previously, but I was a bit apprehensive because I only knew one person on the training ground. and I was a bit worried about the level and about people accepting me, like who's this new guy, why is he here, etc. There's always that nervous, it's like the first day of school again, right? We've all experienced that. And you know what, I think that sort of dissipated very quickly. Again, there was a lot of people who were supportive, like just helping me get back into a rhythm, like learning, remembering the skill sets that I might have had previously. And that gave a lot of confidence to me, knowing that people were so welcoming and able to, help me get back in and familiar with the sport again. And, I didn't look back. So from there, it was, it was really, really welcoming.
Nice. I think, yeah, we all got to have the same view, which is nice. And tell me, what did you feel after your first training session?
You know what? It was like ripping off a plaster. I was a bit worried going initially, but I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go feet first and just see what happens. What's the worst gonna happen? No one's gonna die or anything like that. Just go and embrace it and see what happens. But afterwards, in the changing rooms afterwards, getting pats on the back and going, I really like what you did there. When are we going to see you again? Do you want to go and have a beer? Those are all the sort of things that, draw you to that social aspect once again. It's not just on the pitch, it's off the pitch as well, which makes rugby so great. So for me afterwards, it was a really good feeling. I think at that point in my life, I'd not been in the best of shape either. I was quite unhealthy, not been getting too much exercise, and just having a run around. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't a great run around by any stretch, but it was enjoyable. And I think that's what everyone should remember, that no matter of your ability, your skill set or anything, just come and give it a try. And you will find a group of people who just want you to do the best that you can be and enjoy it.
Again, you are I'm sure you can read what the questions are.
You've got intuition, mate.
Exactly. So to a new member that wants to come along and try, what advice would you give that person if they were watching right now?
Right. So, I mean, I'm unfortunately, I brought a couple along to the Outlaws already. And when I've spoken to them, you just put an arm around them and you just say, look, depending on their skill level, you've got a mixture of people. You've got people who have never played the sport and they're just really worried. They see people like big hits on TV and there's a bit of apprehension there. That's not going to happen as soon as you rock up. You've got people there who are experts in the game and will ask you, how you feel about certain things. And they're not just going to throw you in, they're going to talk to you and welcome you slowly and at your pace. So I think that's something that if people are a bit worried about coming down and having to put in massive tackles straight away, that's not always the case, unless some people want to, of course. Yeah. So I think I'd say to people, do not be worried. Come along and you'll be speaking to professionals who have played at a really good level and they'll know not to throw you in at sort of that deep end. But then again, if there's people who have played at high level and they want to come and have a go and just get stuck in straight away, then just come along and do it feet first. There's going to be people team that will welcome that challenge, because even the better players in the team need to be challenged. So having good crop of players come along as well to kind of challenge that sort of higher echelons as well is good. So both sort of ends of the spectrum, if you like, from people who've played at a high level and people who are just starting out. I'd say don't fear, just come along, give it a try, and what's the worst that could happen?
Fair enough. Yeah, true. Tell me, if you had to describe the Outlaws in 3 words, what would they be?
Oh, Chad, you put me on the spot there. What could I've got to keep this clean, haven't I? Because it's being recorded. I'll probably give an off-air version. But if I was to describe it, I would say fun, friendly, and fantastic. 3 Fs. There we go.
3 Fs. Nice. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you've found this interesting and enjoyed it as much as I have. But yeah, now it's kind of your turn to find your victim and get them to give a decent interview.
Pleasure, mate. Always good to chat to you, Chad. Take care, mate.
Cheers, man.
Thank you for watching the interview with an outlaw. If you like what you saw, please click like. And if this is the first time you're here, why not hit subscribe for more from our channel? We release 5 every Friday, so let's see who will pass it on next.